Hello everybody, hopefully you can hear and see me okay right now. This is for Virgo, Sun, Rising, and Moon. Welcome to your monthly reading. As I just put here at the bottom, you can always use this really for any aspect of your chart that you happen to know. And my format is right here as well. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. My little furry assistant Apollo is taking a nap behind me, so when he wakes up later at the end, I'll bring him up. But for now, we have a lot to talk about, so I thought we would get started. Again, as I said, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. We're going to be looking at the next 6 to 8 weeks for everyone that's in the sign of Virgo. But you can also watch for someone in your life that you care about, and also look at it for any aspect, like I said, of your chart. The way that I organize this is we're going to look at channeled messages first. Those are messages I get connecting to spirit, and I share those with you. Then we'll use the Celtic Cross to dig a little bit deeper and get a little bit more information to what's coming in. And then after all of that, we'll take a look at things like the big idea, blessings and blocks, viewer's choice, reader's choice, meditation, and sound bath at the end. So I always end with a final question, so if there's something that you haven't gotten answered, stick around. You'll have a chance to get some information on that. Okay? So that is the basic format. Just a couple of quick notes of how you can find me on social media. If you'd like to ever get some reminders that don't involve the Google way of connecting, you can do that through all of the social media platforms that you see right here. As you can see, I'm usually just my name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, especially on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Patreon. And then on Twitter, it's @Ashbaugh. I'd love for you to follow me there if you get a chance. A way that you can help this particular channel is, oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. I had the mic to the side, so sorry. Thank you to my moderator for letting me know about that. Very, very sorry. I wish I'd heard that a couple minutes earlier. So thank you. I was getting set up here on the table, so there you go. Sorry that there's an echo. Hopefully you can hear me okay now. That's all it was, everyone. So anyway, let me refocus. What I was saying is what you can do is like and subscribe if you would like to. It is a great way to show support to the channel. And the, sorry, again, I'm just trying to focus now. Like and subscribe if you can. Also, if you'd like to show support here, you can do that through SuperChats, SuperStickers, and memberships. Big thanks to Maria for giving me a text and letting me know that the mic sound wasn't working. All right, so there you go. I have to kind of pull it away because I'm doing work here in the morning and then I pull it back in front. Still getting used to the new setup. I hope you like it. We're going to try something new today. And instead of me scribbling everything, I actually typed them up. So I'll show that to you in just a moment. By the way, if you want to find out more about my schedule, you can do that on my website. It's nicholasashbaugh.com/live. All of my past, present, and future readings will be there. And thanks to all of you for helping me be able to do this. I've been saving up for like a year to get a bunch of these upgrades. So when I was talking about all the super stickers and super chats, that's where all of that goes. So thank you for that. All right, we're going to begin here with channeled messages here at the beginning. Channeled messages are basically what comes to me in the morning. Before I get started, just allowing me to really kind of be here fully present for all of you. So today, like I said, we're going to try something a little bit different. So let me see if I can get this set up first. I'm going to do a preview to make sure that it is the way it needs to be looking here. And we're going to do picture-in-picture, basically, where you can see all the stuff that I've typed up. It looks like it's good. So hopefully you can see what I see right now, which is, let's see here. There we go. We'll go to live mode, and there you go. Okay, so let me just pull it into focus, and we're just going to take a look at the spirit totems today. I thought this would be a fun way for you to be able to kind of enjoy all of my stuff, and I can get it typed up a little faster. So I was walking the dog this morning. I heard this beautiful song from a bird that reminded me just of the power of voice and the power of music. I couldn't identify the bird, and the bird itself wasn't so important. It reminded me of this myth in school that I remember reading about, which was Orpheus and Eurydice. And Orpheus is one of the children of Apollo. And basically, he was gifted a lyre, which looks like a harp by modern standards. And this was something that gave him the ability to kind of cast a spell over people. His playing was so amazing that it didn't matter if it was a god or an animal or a human, they were all kind of put into that spell. And as I was listening to the bird this morning, I was reminded of the power of music, of speech, of communication. And unfortunately for our little hero here in the story, his wife died from a snake bite. There's a lot of different kind of accounts of how this happened. The more pleasant one is just that she was dancing with the nymphs and there was this snake that bit her. He was, of course, overcome with grief, and he went to the underworld. And as he traveled through the underworld, he faced multiple things like shades and ghosts and the three-headed dog rather, that kind of guards the gates of Hades. And ultimately, he was able to play his music and get past all of these blocks until he gained an audience with Hades and Persephone, the king and the queen of the underworld. The king of the underworld, Hades, was moved by his music, and he granted Orpheus his wish. He could take his wife Eurydice back to the land of the living, but in order to do that, he had to follow one simple piece of advice, and that was pretty hard. He had to make sure that he did not look back. He had to trust that she was following him. He had to trust that basically Hades was good on his message. So ultimately, this proved to be a little bit tricky for him, and he, at the very last minute, lost faith, looked around. She was there, but then she had to return, so he just got one final glance. Of course, the message here is for all of us to have faith. A lot of times, whatever it is that you're trying to bring into your life, it's not necessarily going to be visible at the beginning. In fact, a lot of times, the things that we want, the things that we really, really desire to see come into fruition, we have to see it here and here first, and then it actually comes into the real world. You have to trust your intuition, you have to trust your dreams, and when you're manifesting things, you're going to see it and feel it before it actually comes through. So that's one message that I got connected to that. The other thing here, of course, is to believe. If you're not able to believe in yourself, people will have a much harder time believing in you, being able to see what it is that you have or you're trying to bring into the world. Of course, when we look into the past, I could also put nostalgia, but retrospect, looking over your shoulder and thinking, this is what happened, this is what was. It does bring understanding, but it can't be the place that we permanently dwell. So living in that constant nostalgia can be exhausting. It can trap you, it can consume you if you're not careful. So it's more important to learn from it, inform your present, and then allow for yourself to kind of like enjoy today and plan for tomorrow. The snake in the story, the one that bit Eurydice, it's also a positive energy and a positive sort of thing that we can look at. It represents a power and an inner awakening. Sometimes you can look at this as like a Kundalini awakening, for instance. What this means for many of you is that sometimes there can be a little bit of fear when you're having that awakening, like, is this real? What do I do with this? You may also be at a point where you're asked to make a change, do something that doesn't meet the status quo, what's expected, what everyone else is doing. The good news here is that you can and you will be able to do this. This can also, of course, be connected with the Seven of Swords. In fact, I think the Afro Goddess deck has this particular, has the snake around that person in the Seven of Swords. There's more than meets the eye. So when there's a sort of snake energy present or apparent, a lot of times what this can mean is someone is testing your power, testing your attention. They want to see, can I get away with this? So this is going to be really an important time for you to stand up and say what is or isn't acceptable to you. So set the proper boundaries and course correct as needed. Be flexible. Snakes can twist and they can turn, and they can kind of move through any situation. And so you too have the ability to kind of move through things, maybe not with ease, but with more success than you may sort of consider. So lean into your own flexibility and see what happens with that as well. Sometimes you just have to give it a really good, honest attempt and see where it goes. The musical elements that we were picking up today, right back to like even the bird that I heard, it's the first thing that I thought of is like facing the music. There might be something like judgment going on in your life, something that's coming into focus right now. You typically know what to do when this happens. It's just a matter of deciding like when to take action. Judgment reversed is second guessing yourself or doing what you know opposite, like doing the opposite of what you know you should be doing. So I want you to face the music, face the facts, and really move forward toward whatever it is that you need and want to do. And then finally, finding relationship harmony. The cool thing that we learned today with with Orpheus is that he could overcome almost any obstacle, including ones that he thought were insurmountable, simply by saying and what for him he was playing music from the heart. So I believe if you go at something from a heartfelt perspective, that's going to help. Using love, using kindness, using empathy, all of these things can be much like what we saw with our hero today, bringing about empathy in other people as well. So hopefully you like that sort of connection. This saved me a lot of time, by the way, doing a keynote, and a little bit more fun. I'll play around with how big it is and the fonts and everything. This is just my first try. I'll continue to kind of change things up because this year is all about upgrades when it comes to how we're communicating and how we're working. Okay? All right, so those were your primary messages. I'm going to be working next with the Celtic Cross. For the Celtic Cross today, I'd like to, because we kind of worked with myths and everything. Sometimes I choose, sometimes I let you choose. Today I'm going to choose. I'm going to use the Tarot of the Divine because it's all about like retelling old fairy tales and like looking at old myths. So we're going to use this one to see what's coming through. So let me go ahead now and we'll take a look at your messages today. So I'm going to move this to the side, but keep it here. So sorry about the mic situation earlier. But yes, there's a lot of prep work. People don't realize before I get started, I have to do the research and get everything set up. So sometimes I need a couple extra minutes, and today I definitely did. All right. Yeah, I've been doing the same sort of format and organization for like 7 years. So as I kind of get used to new equipment and new setups, it takes a little work. So thank you for being patient. I just really wanted to bring it into the 21st century. All right, let's take a look at what's coming through. Okay, we'll begin with the Catalyst card today. We have the Spiritual Quest. So some of you may have that sort of inner awakening that I talked about, especially with respect to, I talked a little bit about like Kundalini. So sometimes when we have a spiritual awakening, it really changes our focus and what's important to us. Sometimes kind of like if we're just sleepwalking through our life, which we've all done from time to time, there can be this sort of predictability, but also a sense of not really being present. So it feels like the main thing for some of you is there's a little bit of a wake-up call and a search or desire to have something bigger, brighter, better, a little bit more engaging than what it was that you had before. So if you've had that wake-up call, the sort of card here from Lord Ganesh is saying it's time to honor that wake-up call and to decide what am I going to do about it. So for many of you, the question is kind of like what I was saying earlier. If you're ready, then what lengths would you go to do something, and when are you going to start the action? The cards that we're going to look at here hopefully will help yield some insight into that. First of all, there's a big focus on success, and I'm not surprised to see this with Virgo because you are connected to success and doing well. But there's pressure with this particular card. So if we look at this one, what I like about it is this person is in the lead. We don't see the pressure from the other people. We kind of see them behind the scenes. And sometimes taking the lead, sometimes being successful, sometimes doing what's important, it's lonely, right? So leadership, it's lonely at the top, but whenever you're kind of stepping out and going into the unknown, this in particular can be a lonely period. The message with this though is that you're spot on. You're exactly in the right direction. Going back to what I talked about with our Greek hero today, it's important not to lose faith, however. This card can be sometimes pressure and self-doubt because of what other people say or think. And it starts to get into your headspace and you start to wonder like, oh my God, is the criticism correct? Is there something that I'm doing wrong? Do I need to do it again? So don't let the public opinion or naysayers or negative criticism get you into that same situation that Orpheus was in, where he had to look over his shoulder and he missed something or he lost something. For you, it's going to be a lot less tragic because Greek tragedies, they always like something kind of crazy. In real life, it's like, oh, I misjudged that person. And how frustrating is it when someone really has your back and you second guess them and then they're like, I had your back all along, but now we're going to have to rebuild this because you didn't trust me. So they lose faith in you when you lose faith in them. So just don't lose faith in yourself. And if people are doing a good job, don't sort of like put the pressure or the energy where it doesn't need to be. If there is somebody like we talked about with the snake, 7 of Swords energy that have popped up in your life, then of course you need to address that. But really work through fears and lack of doubt or lack of faith and just see if it's something internal instead. We have the Page of Cups card crossing the center. To me, this is a really positive energy to have there. We see the abundance actually with this, with the little rabbit. And the cool thing with this also is I feel like many of you are liberating yourself a little bit. I like to think of that rabbit as taking the strings away. No strings attached. This is also saying when it comes to love, it needs to be unconditional love, right? Really love from the highest point. What do we mean by unconditional love? For instance, if you are a parent and you're saying something like this to your child, or if you're a kid and your parent said this to you, and they say something like, why can't you be more like this person, your neighbor, your brother, your sister, or more like me when I was a kid? Well, it's because you're your own person. You don't have to be. Comparing someone to someone else and saying, if you did that, I'd love you more, or I love that more than you, it's not really a great way of inspiring people. It usually kind of like pulls them down. So if anyone in your life, parent, teacher, friend, brother, sister, is kind of condescending or comparing, you want to really make sure that you distance yourself from that. And if there's somebody who also puts a lot of conditions on what you need to do, like you have to do this and this and this, or I get angry, or my love is kind of pulled back, then that's conditional love. That means that, and we're not talking about normal sort of things, which would just be like honesty and, just support and all that stuff. It's sort of like you have to jump through hoops. These are the things you want to avoid. It's also attached to like devil energy or emperor, empress energy in reverse, which is controlling, and we don't need that. So be unconditional in your joy, in your love. Seek out that unconditional energy from other people, and I believe that you'll be in a really great place, okay? Unconditionally love yourselves too, of course, yes. Okay, change is coming. We have the Death card here. It's already upon you. This is deep past. If we were to look at the position here, it's right here. So in the deep past, we have the Death card. The Death card, of course, is asking you to embrace the possibilities and what you can become and what you can sort of embrace, what you can see in your life. If we don't, what happens with Death is it moves from a transformational card into a stagnation card. Nobody wants to stagnate, right? Everybody wants a chance to sort of explore and see what's possible. So for many of you, the change has already started. It's a question of acceptance. We see the specter here kind of coming through where you know that something has come to a close. This could be a relationship, a job, or something big in your life where you sort of look at it and you think, I can see beyond this now, right? And like our kind of hero in the story there, or anti-hero, because he really didn't do what he needed to do, but if you try to save something that was and bring back the past, it doesn't always work. So that myth kind of makes sense because a lot of times we can't live in the past. So if something needs to come to pass, then let it pass and trust that there'll be something beyond it. Okay? Everything has a time, has a season. And one last thing with this one is if you had a close call, a brush with death, some sort of a change that's been coming through, there's Apollo, then many of you may just sort of be needing to use that as a wake-up call. We don't always need a brush with death or a brush with major change to kind of like get us in the right place, but sometimes it helps, right? So the next one that we'll be looking at here is your recent past. In the recent past, we have the Six of Pentacles. And the Six of Pentacles card is one of my favorites because it shows that you have started to learn the lessons that you need to have the balance that's necessary in your life. For business and major decisions, this shows that with proper choices, you have everything that you need, everything that you need. You just have to say when, and sometimes you have to say no to certain things. So what does this mean? This means if you have 2 or 3 different people that want to meet with you on the same night, or if you have 2 or 3 different activities that you've promised to do, or if you have a limited amount of money, but you know that you're going to make some money in the process, what you want to do is prioritize and think, like, this person would appreciate and needs my time the most. This one can wait until next week. This extracurricular never really goes anywhere. You're going to say no to some things. You're going to say yes to others. The things that you say yes to will be fruitful and give you more. Then you can use that to do the other things. When it comes to big decisions, I've talked about this before, but it helps. There's usually 3 things that you can shift: the time, the scope, and the money or the budget. So you're going to have to shift some of those things around. Time, scope, budget. Timing meaning I can do it later if I don't have enough sort of, if your money is limited and the scope has to stay the same, that you'll have to do it later. If you can limit the scope, you can maybe do it sooner because you don't have to do as much. If you get more money, you can bring more people or more hands in. So you got to look at those little elements that can be controlled, and that is what the Six of Pentacles is about: decisions, priorities, and achieving balance. Unlike the Two of Pentacles, you don't necessarily have to make a hard choice. You just have to make little moves on the chessboard, push things around on the calendar, all of that, thinking about what's coming next, okay? And the crowning card here is the King of Pentacles. I feel very good about your capacity to really see things grow. I just rewatched a childhood favorite. I do it from time to time, The Never-Ending Story. The oldest character in that book was actually a turtle. There's a lot of myths in different kinds of religions and mythologies that surround like the turtle being part of the world. Basically, we're on top of the back of the turtle. In the movie, the turtle was a little bit, clocked out, I want to say. Slow to take action, a little indifferent. And so when we look at a traditional King of Pentacles card, it would actually have some of those similar attributes where they're so comfortable that they're maybe not taking as much action as they need to. So this card is actually begging you to wake up and to move. Even if it's a slow movement in the right direction, turtles don't move really quickly, they're at least taking some action. So if there's something that needs your attention, if there's something that needs your action, take that small step, take another small step. You'll start to see at the end of the month progress, but it does require movement. And the next card here is the Emperor card as well. And the Emperor card is asking us also to make sure that we are taking accountability, right? Sometimes that's a lot easier said than done, but nonetheless, you're sort of the one that has to take control because we have a lot of energy here around leadership, accountability. With the Emperor card in this position, I do feel very good about your ability to make change happen. So the Emperor card sometimes decides if I want this to be done correctly, I'm going to have to do this myself. So some of you are understanding that in this moment in time, you're the best person for the job, right? That can be a little overwhelming sometimes because there is this sort of, there's comfort in being told what to do, because if it goes wrong, you can point your finger and say, well, you said to do it this way, you said to do it that way. So as you start to step into more responsibility or accountability, there is more attention, there is a little bit more pressure there, but it's also really fulfilling because if it goes right, you also get what we saw at the center, right? All of the accolades. So I do think you're poised for success, but as a piece or an important element of that, action is necessary. And in addition to that action, accountability and leadership is necessary, okay? So There you go. So far, so good. But there is a little bit of, for some of you, even stress management. How do I deal with all of this? How do I make this work, right? Okay, let's take a look now at your next card. We're going to move along to how you are showing up in spirit here, which in this moment in time is the Ten of Cups. This is really good because it shows me that many of you have worked to create that sense of friendship and family and community. Now, the card in reverse can be the pressure that you feel from that, and sometimes the fact that you're getting pulled in all directions. So for those of you that work very hard jobs, long hours, or maybe you have a couple of jobs to pay the bills, this is where you kind of have to make peace with the fact that when you leave one job or when you leave your job, it's never completely done. There's always going to be a little bit of something left over that you're going to have to pick up the next day. So make sure that you can decompress and leave some of that where it needs to be. When it comes to families, there may be someone leaning on you a little bit more, needing a little bit more. Family may be occupying more of your headspace. And so many of you just have to figure out a way for you really to kind of like succeed with that, okay? And again, the Six of Pentacles helps you with this. When we were looking here earlier, Six of Pentacles came through to say, all right, you can use this card here, Page of Cups, to say, I love you, and we all want the best thing, but time and energy and balance needs to be a part of this. So you're going to balance everything out and decide how much to give to these people that are asking, okay? And the next card here in the environment is the Knight of Coins. So some of you are going to take some of these sort of like resources here that we see, and you're going to decide to reinvest. When I see a card in the environment, it can show, one, that someone wants something from you, or two, that someone's going to receive something from you here with this Knight of Coins. There's going to be back and forth, and I feel like you're going to have to go at a couple of rounds here. So if it's a negotiation for a house or a car or a major item, don't accept the first offer, or make sure that you ask questions about the contract and the details. If someone's asking you for something, you can ask them for something too. There needs to be reciprocity. So and it's all about an energy exchange. So if it's not money, then there's a services or time or something like that. Make sure that you're not over delivering or that someone's not taking too much. This card can also just be about personal development. So it can be selfish, but in the best way, like sort of focusing on health, well-being, and training. So some of you may be deciding to put energy in yourself so that you can give more in the future. Okay? But there is something in the environment, as I'm looking at this card, that's saying really focus on, is it too much? Does it feel right? You have a voice, which we talked about today. Take a step, use your voice, balance things out. Something hasn't been working in the past, so this is the chance for you to maybe move into a different direction, okay? You got a lot of pentacles today, by the way. So I think that's good for you because it's connected to you anyway, but what we're seeing here is community, a big choice for you, and then another opportunity that you're kind of working on here. So I guess back to the big picture, which we'll be looking at a little bit later. What are you trying to do, and how do all of these things in your life, friendships, love, work, are they moving you further toward that goal or not? Because your possibility is the Ace of Pentacles. And this is like a Jack and the Beanstalk sort of thing. You can see the vines growing there. So if you're ready to plant a seed, it's really going to start to grow quickly, and it's going to require your attention. So this Ace of Pentacles is asking, are you ready to be quote unquote all in? This also can be used when we're looking at relationships, marriage, engagement, also I would say any kind of partnership. But the question again is, are you all in? Do you feel it mind, body, and spirit, or is there something that you need to talk about or negotiate? For those of you looking for someone or something, that card portends good things, as does your outcome card, which is Queen of Cups. Lovely little mermaid here in this particular illustration. So I like the mermaids and mermen that are in this deck because basically it shows you have the ability to kind of go between two elements, earth and water. So the grounding energy of earth, but you're going to have to really let your heart shine through. We have the Page of Cups at the center. We have the Queen of Cups here. Like, I actually like this if there's a relationship going on. It feels like this is the moment to kind of like go all in or or let it go. We're going to look at that more in a second, but this can be a proposal. This can be acceptance to a proposal or a partnership. So I definitely see you moving in the right direction. And if you've loved and lost, you have a chance to love again here with this. So I'll look at love more in just a moment. But the first thing that we're going to move on to next is the expanded forecast. Expanded forecast is health, wealth, love, and destiny. Those are the cards that you see here on the side. So we're going to be taking a look at all of these to drill a little bit deeper into that. We're going to start first with your health card here, which is saying, let's take a step back. That's a great message. Let me put my glasses on. We'll bring it up to the main camera here. And it says, thank you, angels, for helping me to take a step back from what's not serving me. So the death card in the deep past is showing that stagnation and showing that many of you already know what it is that you need to kind of step away from. And it's just a matter of facing it. So in this particular death card, we see someone there that's a little bit nervous of facing what needs to come to pass. But this card is saying it's healthy for you. So whatever's not serving you, this can be very much like the Six of Swords, where you know it and you're going to move on and it's going to feel good and you're empowered and you're sort of driving the change. Not the passive Four of Swords, but the active Six of Swords energy. And these are connected to me, that's the sort of action associated with the death card that's necessary. So space, time, distance, and you sort of going on a little bit of a journey of self-discovery, okay? If you're really stressed out in a relationship or work, you need space. So it's time and space. Maybe you need a sick day, maybe you need vacation, maybe you need a break. Whatever it is that you need, ask for it and take that for yourself because you need that, particularly when it comes to time. Take the time that you need. All right, looking at the cards specifically to see if there's some additional messages just around love as we take a look at them here. I'm not love, but health rather. So your health cards right now. The King of Pentacles card can be a little bit passive and also can overdo things like eating and drinking. So I'd say one thing that you really want to be focusing on with respect to this is making sure that you are you're taking proper care of yourself, that you're not overdoing it, and moderation is key. The Emperor card is also pretty static and pretty used to just sort of sitting still. So movement, and we see walking as a part of this, taking a step back. So I would say gentle movement is key. As I look at health, I always like to disclaim it, and maybe I'll put it on here eventually too. I'm not a doctor, I'm looking at energy. So if you're going through anything, you definitely want to talk to a professional on that. But as we look at what's going on here, I feel like some of you have already been through, quote unquote, the worst with the death card here in the deep past. So I think that it's going to be important for you to figure out, have I learned the lesson that I need to from that rather? And if you have, then don't repeat it. Don't kind of go through something that's already happened. Having the proper balance, because there's a lot of good pressure that's going on for you. Like sometimes there's pressure where it's just sort of like, how am I going to deal with this? But I feel like this pressure is pressure of the best kind. So if you are really successful, many of you just have to sort of think like, I think there might have been a burnout in the past, and now you're just going to avoid getting burned out again. We see success at the center, success at the top, accountability here as well, and nothing but success here on out as long as you learn the lesson of balance, okay? So being able to balance yourself is going to give you the energy that you need, the resources that you need, and you're just going to be more able to sort of be happier and healthier. Otherwise, I'm happy with what I see here. I don't really feel like there's that many other things to do except to talk about all of the Pentacle cards that are showing up and the fact that many of these are reversed. So just don't overdo things. Make sure that you ask for what it is that you need and don't let people pull you in the wrong direction. That time and space energy is really important here for health as well. Sometimes it's hard for us to sort of understand how just kind of like speaking up can really free us. But in this moment in time, it can indeed kind of give you that freedom that you need to be happier. And who doesn't want more happiness, right? All right, so we just looked at health. We're going to move along to wealth card here. We have Paul the Venetian here in wealth. Experiencing grace is the caption, and it says, share your gifts with grace. Waves of inspiration and love are coming to you. All right, so this is really great, actually. The grace thing is kind of reminding you to be graceful under fire, to have that grace under fire. So if you are in a place where people just don't know how to manage their stress, manage you, manage themselves, then one of the things that you want to try to do is to project the grace and put it out there. We see that beautiful rose over his heart space. So you want to lead with your heart. And then if you are going through a really great period in your life, remember that not everyone is at the same place as you. So that grace is also thinking about, is this the right time to share something positive even? Check in with the other person, see what they're at, see where they're at, see if they're open to it. And I would just say reciprocity, support, and then like avoiding things like bragging and things like that. If someone around you is a bit of a show off, just don't feed that. Just say, okay, that's cool. And then redirect the conversation. So it might also be showing with grace that you're not really interested in whatever it is that they're kind of putting on as a show, okay? Grace being the key piece. Sharing your gifts though, that's the other thing here. Some of you are gonna decide this is your time in, and this is your moment to go back and learn, go back to school or to develop a gift a little bit more so that you can show that or do something with it. People will be interested in what you have to show, but remember what we talked about earlier, that if you don't believe in yourself, other people are gonna have a hard time believing and seeing what's possible, okay? So let's go on to the next piece. Sorry, not channel messages, but the expanded. We're gonna look at love next. One last thing actually before we do that, I wanna call into attention the Ace of Coins in reverse. If you want something, you may have to ask for something. So if there's something really, really important and you need it now, or you sort of really want to see something happen, then you're going to have to be that conduit. I don't know why, I was rewatching some childhood stuff just for fun, but for those of you that have ever seen the original Willy Wonka, there's this character, Veruca Salt, and she's always saying like, I want it now, daddy. She wants everything right now. She wants the candy, the pony, the this, the that. That's not the way that we want to express it. So Paul the Venetian would say something instead that if we could get this, then this is going to be possible. Find the mutual place of agreement there, saying this is going to benefit both of us. I think that if we act quickly on it, that we're going to be able to seize this moment and this opportunity instead of kind of like saying it needs to happen now. And a lot of times we do get that energy from a boss or from a parent, like do it now. It's not inspiring, right? So even if your partner needs to do something, just say, this window of time is closing. I really need your assistance on this. Can you help me with it? Because I'm exhausted and I'm depending on you for this. Otherwise, I'll ask someone else. That's a better way to state the I need it now than the Veruca Salt version of it, right? So we've all been there though sometimes where you've just lost your patience and you think I need to see some movement. I need to see it in a different place. One last note here with being looking at wealth here. Entrepreneurial energy definitely coming through loud and clear with the Emperor card, and it's also supported here with the King of Pentacles. So you have an ability right now to get people excited, but the movement could happen a little slower than you think. So have faith, take your time. All right. Now let's move along to your love card. We have the Stellar Gateway activation. It says infinite potential, manifestation vortex. All right, so if you've been waiting for something, it's coming. This could be a key partnership or friendship. This gateway energy also is about something that's going to move and change you. So make sure that you've cleaned up all the stuff in your life that you need to clean up that we would see as a part of this death energy so that you can really step into the opportunity without karmic baggage. Looking at different sort of ways of interpreting love and relationships, we're going to begin with the perspective of those of you that are already in love or in a key relationship. You can also use this for non-romantic relationships like a friend or family member. So looking at that key relationship, for those of you in them right now, there does seem to be a lot of focus on optics. So this could be someone out there that is trying to please everybody. So whether it's you or your partner, I would say focus less on the optics, focus more on the success of the relationship. I know sometimes easier said than done, but that's the main thing there. It does look like you have an open heart. I see really positive movement when it comes to the relationships. Your crowning card and your final card are good, even your near future one. So the main thing that you're going to be looking at is give and take and balance, Six of Pentacles. The thing with the Six of Pentacles is there's usually someone there that's holding the other four. Like sometimes you're in the lead, sometimes they're in the lead, and you just have to figure out Am I getting enough? Are they getting enough? And making sure that the scales go back and forth so that it's not favoring one side all of the time. So balance, open heart, keeping an open heart, moving beyond something in the past that didn't work. There was a full stop. Some of you may have actually had a moment where you thought, this is it, this is over, it's not going to work, or you nearly split, but you're trending in the right direction here. So if you want recovery and you want growth, I see it here with 10 of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, and Queen of Cups. But there's a lot of focus on self here, so make sure that you are loving, working, and developing yourself, and make sure that your partner feels the same way. Very good, actually, for existing relationships. If something's on the way out, then something else is on the way in. So I don't see you sort of alone and looking forever here. It looks pretty good for those of you that are looking, and that kind of is the next piece here. So if you're single and looking, or if you're looking for a new partnership, again, don't let what was here in the past sort of like be your end all be all. So this is one moment in time. It may have been big, but everything else is trending in the right direction. I do see an interesting sort of like gap between, normally I like to see like a king and a queen or two queens. We do have a king and a queen here, but we have this interesting sort of like juxtaposition here. So an emperor usually is old or wise, or can be old and wise, but a page is usually not old. So we're looking at someone whose age and experience belie one another. So they could be old but young looking and young acting. They could be young with an old soul. This partner that's coming in could kind of have some of that energy. Yes, we have the King of Pentacles here, but the King of Pentacles is being defined by these two cards. So there's something unique about new partnerships that are coming in where the person doesn't act like what you would think they would. But it does seem like when I look at the top, it's a good match. So be that as it may. Could be also a water sign coming into your life. I just wanted to mention some of these highlights, okay? For those of you that are not interested in relationships at all, and just curious like what's coming through with friendships and relationships, I will say that the main thing that I'm picking up on so far is that many of you, you're going to just have a great month in business. I think that you can also create some new connections. Everybody should be focusing on networking. Whenever we have the 10 of Pentacles, which is what this is, and then we have a page, right? No, knight, sorry, knight and an ace right by it. That's showing that there's a lot of growth and development that's possible and available to you if you allow it. So by all means, allow some of this stuff to come in, because I think that it's worth the time and energy. And even if you're not looking for love or not looking for a relationship, I still see that there's a potential for something really exciting to come into your life. So based on what I'm seeing, it looks pretty good across the board for relationships. I was thinking about on Saturday doing an impromptu where I've never done it before, but I'll just work through all the signs and pull a couple cards on love. So maybe we'll do that. I'll see how I feel on Saturday. By the way, a way to make sure that you don't miss something like an impromptu, I'll probably do some sort of an impromptu topic to be decided, but make sure that you hit the subscribe as well, and make sure that you opt into notifications so you can see it. Anyway, let's move on to the final piece of the expanded forecast, which is Destiny. And your Destiny card today, you actually have two of them. So we're going to start with the one that's on top, and it's Beauty, and the Beauty card is reversed. So some of you are working on seeing past your own insecurities. And I had great advice once from a friend that in college who, I don't know, somehow we were talking about people being in or out of your league. And she said, well, I have an approach on that, which is if someone sees something in me beautiful, then it's probably there. And if they don't see what I see, then it's my little secret that I got someone that was out of my league. But the truth is we're probably both in the same league, and I'm just not seeing this, and I agree. So I think that many of you may be underestimating your beauty, or someone sees a different kind of beauty in you. And so don't be so critical to yourself. Also, the partner that you're looking at may get more attractive over time. Like I said, there may be something initially where you think, I don't know, but then it clicks. So this is about surface beauty not being the most important thing. So look beyond the beauty of this, because it changes with time, and see what's beneath. You may find a beautiful person with a not so beautiful sort of heart energy or, mind. And so you might find someone that is, every day, but like they have this beautiful soul and it just radiates, and that's what you see and that's what you're attracted to. So That's one thing. We do see beauty. See something's potential. Because this is in destiny, not just relationships, there could be something like a house or something else that you want to buy and kind of like upgrade, and you can see what the next step is for that beyond the sort of disrepair. So by all means, if you know what you're doing, then that's a good card for that. And then we have the abundance card here, a green man. Lovely energy with this, and really good sort of complement to what we saw here in the hopes and fears energy here, where we saw like Jack and the Beanstalk. So this is definitely the same sort of energy of that. This is the Beanstalk, and this is maybe a grown-up Jack at the top saying, all right, look at what I've been able to create, right? So I really, really like that. This, in many decks, can be the Fool card. So, death is one way of bringing things to a close, and the Fool is saying, I'm going to move past that and learn beyond that, okay? Really great sort of messages overall. And let's go ahead now and we'll pull one more card, which is going to be the big idea, which connects the thread to all of these. So give me a second to shuffle. And then we'll do some viewers and readers' choices. All right, so your big idea energy is, oops, not that. Okay, is the High Priestess in reverse. So the High Priestess card is really saying, have faith in yourself. Don't second guess what the universe is bringing you. When we do that, we actually lose our power. So we have a genie in a bottle here, basically saying your wish can be granted if you believe in it, if you truly go down that direction. If you don't believe that it's possible, it will not happen. If you're being guided to do something and you're not listening to it, then it also won't happen. So really trust in what the universe is sending your way, and don't lose this opportunity because of something in the past that didn't work out the way you thought it was going to work out. Okay? All right. Let's go ahead now and take a look at your blessings and your blocks. So the blessing is going to be something to embrace, something to celebrate, and the block is going to be something that we want to try to avoid bringing in, to avoid happening. All right, so we'll begin with your blessing card. Your blessing card is the Star. I love how these power cards are coming through. I am curious, however, why some of them are reversed here. So the Star card is usually about you really having that moment where you understand who you are. You're not afraid to be who you are. You're not afraid to be in the spotlight. If someone puts you into this unexpectedly, like they pick you at school, they're like, hey, do you know the answer to this? You may not think you know the answer to it, but this card is saying not only do you know the answer to it, but you're going to really thrive and excel once you just kind of get started here. So trust, again, what others are seeing here, and trust is the number one thing that's tying everything together today. So your intuition is leading you in the right direction. You are given this opportunity to shine. Are you ready to shine? Is someone in your life asking you to mute your light? Are they gaslighting you and making you think that you're incapable of doing something? If that's the case, then it's time to, put your hand up and say, hold on a moment, and make sure that that doesn't continue. All right, we just looked at the blessing. Let's take a look at the potential block for you. Change and kind of staying focused here. So we have the Tower card in reverse. The Tower card reversed is actually beneficial. What it means, though, is you have to take some sort of an action to affect the outcome. So if the Tower card is upright, what happens with that is basically we're in a moment where we're not given a lot of notice. The universe may have pushed us multiple times to make the right choice, but it's like this moment in time, it's saying you've run out of time. You just have to do it. With the Tower in reverse, we either see it coming, or we make it happen, or we move with it. So it looks like we have like Rapunzel in this, because we can see her hair coming down here. So for many of you, you're waiting for someone to throw you a lifeline. But the truth of the matter is you're going to be okay. You kind of have to take a leap of faith and start moving. And we can't keep someone trapped in a position forever. So for those of you that feel like you're trapped in that ivory tower, or you're trapped in any sort of place, then it's time for the movement to happen. So how do you reverse the Tower and do so successfully? when you're faced with a necessary change, you want to acknowledge it and say, I see this is happening, let's do something about it. Or I would like to be playing this role in the next phase of this journey. So if it's a job and there's a merger or there's a buyout or there's layoffs, I want you to go to your boss and talk to them heart to heart and say, I know changes are happening. We've heard some things, but this is what I really want to do if I have any say in the matter. Like, I'm interested in this. So if we're restructuring, then this is part of my job that I want to see restructured. In a relationship, you could say, I think there's something worth saving, but I need your help in this, and this area. So you really set the parameters for what you want. Even though there's chaos kind of around you, you are managing and reining in that chaotic energy and using it to rebuild. Otherwise, you're just rolling with the punches, and then you're sort of like waiting for the tower, hopefully not to hit you, and everything to land in the right direction. So active participation in the energy of change. Change is unavoidable, but because the tower is reversed, you have a lot more power than you think, especially since we got a couple of king cards with the Emperor here in the near future and the King of Pentacles, which kind of has a Midas touch here. Also the Green Man, like, it's nothing but positivity when I look at what you can do. So it's just a choice to take the action. All right, pretty good basically from what I can see. All right, let's move along to the viewer's choice. I do this in two parts. I will give you some things to vote on. I'll probably get a drink of water while you're voting, and then I'm going to do a reader's choice while you're voting. So as I'm looking at the cards right now, some things that I think might be cool to talk about, it's definitely the energy of change. So let me begin with setting this up. A couple of notes. You're only going to be able to vote if you're watching live and if you're watching on a mobile device or a PC. If you're watching on TV, you're not going to be able to. So you also need the chat displayed to be able to do this. All right, so viewer's choice. Okay, let me take a look here. So we're going to be looking at a couple of things here, because in the deep past we had death, which was change. So letting go of the past. The other thing that I would look at is embracing the necessary change. And the next thing that I would look at is and embracing the necessary changes. We're actually going to, like, this is taking an active role in that too. So I'm going to say affecting change. That's a little bit better. Tower reversed. And then I think the last one that you can look at here is focusing on all of the abundance, bringing in abundance. Okay. So you have a chance to vote. While you're doing that, I'm going to grab some water, and then I'm going to come right back and I will do the reader's choice, a question that I want to answer. So take a moment to vote. If we have a tie, I will read both of them. So if you like one and you see there's another one that you want, don't be afraid to vote for that. And thank you for giving me a moment here. All right, so while you're voting on that, I'm going to take a moment here to do a reader's choice. So we got an interesting card here from Lord Ganesh that we haven't focused on that much, which was the spiritual quest or the spiritual awakening. So I'm going to pull a card here to see like what the opportunity is here for you to be more aligned to your soul's path. That spiritual quest can also be alignment. A lot of questions I get from people when I do a one-on-one coaching. I don't do private readings anymore for new clients, but for some of my old clients that I still do readings for, they'll ask like, how do I get aligned to my life goal, like my life path or my life purpose? So let's see what you can do for that alignment. All right, so let's see what's coming through here. Okay, so we have the Empress card here, which is really amazing because we did have the Emperor as well. So let's talk about the Empress. She is able to basically birth, create, or basically bring into fruition whatever it is she wants. There's this boss power, but also this maternal energy. Some of you may be wanting to do something with children, with maybe becoming a mother, that's fine, or a parent, a father. The rest of you may be deciding like, one of my babies is that book in the background there, the luminous one. So that was something I did a couple years ago, and really was intent on making sure that got out into the world. So you can birth like a construction project, a house, you can write something, you can also nurture yourself. And like I talked about, going back to school or something. So what is it that you're going to do and see done here? But usually it is about taking something, seeing it to fruition, and giving it to the world. And hopefully there's something about that gift that is sort of loving, nurturing, and again, gives back. So I like that. There is definitely a ton of boss energy coming through. So for some of you, it's about stepping in and finding that ability to be stronger than you thought. And for some of you, you might be looking at a divine partnership here as well, because we've got the Emperor and the Empress, the King and the Queen. So that bodes well if that's something you're interested in. But I would say, first and foremost, you should be in control of this next thing. You should be able to feel nurtured by it, and you should be kind of helping. There's a higher good to it. It's not just about money or love. It does feel like there's something that gives back. All right, let's take a look at bringing in abundance. Looks like it won. So I'm going to shuffle the cards here while I make sure that indeed bringing in abundance is part of this. But yes, I agree that the Empress card is definitely auspicious if that's what you guys chose. So by a very solid 42%, we got that. We're not quite close enough for a tie, but we're pretty close. The other one was 38%. All right, so let's take a look right now at the bringing in abundance and see what we can do to help you with that. All right, let me just change the screen here. All right, so bringing in abundance, what's the message? All right, so we have the Four of Wands. You don't have to do this alone. The Four of Wands was reversed. So the important thing for you is to remember that you've set up the foundations for people to discover you if it's a business. You've set up the foundations for love if that's what you're looking for. You've also set the foundations to bring in a higher sort of energy. Keep holding that space. But in order to do this, the person with whom you kind of partner for the abundance should be someone that feels like you have their back, they have your back. A very good friend. Trust is paramount right now. This doesn't have to just be marriage or partnership. It is sort of like that energy that we talked about, having one another's back. Not having to kind of lose faith and look over your shoulder like our hero did earlier, just knowing that it's going to be okay and trusting in that. So I feel really good about that for you. So it's partnership. This can also be getting advice or mentorship. So let's say that you need advice with money or business or even like psychology if you're trying to figure out what's going on with you. It's finding the right person that can give you the insights. You're not doing this next leg of the journey alone, okay? And that's a relief sometimes, isn't it? Because I feel like it can be a little overwhelming to have to kind of juggle everything and manage everything, all right? So there you go. Good stuff abounds. And, we're going to, as I'm just looking at the cards on the table, there's a lot by the time I'm finished reading, but I would say I really like all of the partnership energy here. There's a couple of big changes going on with you since we got both Death and the Tower. But as we look at your main sort of Celtic Cross, just about everything's heading in the right direction. So, and also like even with the Green Man here, I feel like there's a new journey opening up for you. This activation card in love, and then we saw this card here also showing new love and self-love here. I think that you're going to be fine. This is a really good month for growth and development. Financials are looking like they're going in the right direction. Just do not succumb to pressure or that sort of inner doubt that we talked about a little bit earlier. Okay. We're moving along now to the meditation. The meditation is going to be two parts. You can see there's going to be a final card. The final card is a chance for me to answer one of your silent questions. Before we even get into that, if you just joined and you want to make sure that you can not miss a future reading with me, then join me across social media. All the links are here, and I also pinned them in my comment earlier. And please, please, please hit that like button. And only 30% of the people that watch subscribe. I have no idea why, but let's change that trend because I'd love to see more growth in the channel. The more this grows, the more I can do things. I want to launch a podcast, but I need some more support and some more growth here. So help me do that by sharing this as well and commenting when it is on replay. that also helps YouTube think that this is worth sharing. If you want to give back a little bit, you can do that as well. You can see I invested 100% back into the channel. I've got more equipment around me than you would imagine, and it's all from your help. So thank you so much. All the information on my website here for the upcoming reading. All right, for the upcoming readings. Before I get into the meditation, I'm going to give you a chance to vote for which instrument you'd like me to use, and then I'm going to set up the meditation today, which is going to be about working through that tower. We're going to ride the wave of change is what I've decided. We'll work with water energy today. So which instrument? And I have two. I have a crystal pyramid, and I also have a singing bowl. Either one is fine, so take a choice, whichever one you like. All right, so as you are getting kind of like situated in that and deciding what you want, I just want you to close your eyes for a moment. And again, remember, this is just 2 minutes. We'll have a final card afterwards, so I'd love for you to stick around. All right, close your eyes, relax, and imagine that you are out at sea. Imagine that you have the ability to just sort of like, well, we can all do this. You're just floating on your back, looking up at the sky. And as you do this, you can feel this weightlessness that you would probably only feel if you're in the water or in outer space. So there is no weight on your shoulders. There is no pressure. The optics card that we looked at in the center, the Six of Wands, it doesn't exist right now. Everything is simply fluid and everything feels light. I want you to take a few deep breaths, and I want you to connect with the energy and the element of water. As you breathe in, imagine you could breathe all of the power of the waves behind you. And on the exhale, imagine that you could start to move forward in those waves. If you want to, you can even imagine that you melt into it and become the wave. Some of you may like surfing. You can imagine that you're surfing beneath the wave. Or if you just want to ride on top of it, it's fine. No matter what happens, however, you're not going to be that sort of energy of crashing into the shore. You're going to be riding above, riding under, or you're going to be the energy that creates the change. Whatever in your head or your heart feels better. Connect with the water, feel the power, and feel that you're moving with it. Imagine elements in your life, things in your life that are stuck. Relationships, jobs, money, whatever it is. I want you to feel that the water's pushing through the blocks. Like a dam, it's going to push through it, and abundance is going to break through. I want you to see in the destination on the shore, wherever it is that you want to be, and allow for the water to take you further, farther, faster than you thought you could go. You're going to arrive at that destination, and it's going to be okay. And if there's any blocks along the way, the water's going to push through it. Keep seeing and feeling and connecting with this as I play the crystal pyramid here, and just enjoy. And I'll be right back after we meditate with the sound bath to answer your final question. So keep that in your thoughts. If you need to, you can write it down as well, but just give yourself a moment to relax and enjoy the energy of movement. I want you to imagine that the water is starting to calm down, that you're gently being lifted, or that you're drifting like driftwood back to the shore. That as you land on the shore, there is this sense of freedom, coming home, and that you've taken with you all of the power, all of the growth, all of the energy that was a part of this journey that brought you to this moment. Know now that you have broken through some of the emotional and internal energies that you might have had that were holding you back, and know that you're going to be okay. Know that things are starting to move in the right direction. All right, let's take a look at the final card. Now is your chance to silently ask a question, and I'm going to pull a card to take a look at it. So this is an affirmative message here. We have the Strength card. The Strength card is saying you have the ability to do whatever you set your mind to. Not only that, but if there is something that seems insurmountable, you can actually overcome it. The Strength card can overcome challenging barriers in the way. The question to you is, do you need or want to stay in a sort of space where you have to kind of go into that? Because there is sort of this tug of war of dominance that's a part of the Strength card. So in a relationship, the Strength card can come through when you have to nag the other person or push to get something to happen. And for many of you, you may not want to kind of be doing that same sort of push-pull energy all the time. It can also happen when you've made a decision, I can do this, but should I have to keep doing this? So don't waste your time and energy on someone or something that is constantly pushing back. This one is somewhat relaxed. We see her here with the mouth of the beast. She's kind of, it's almost like she's gently caressing it. It's not so much like she has to pry it open or she's keeping it shut. So snake charming is kind of like what's going on here. If we combine the message from Orpheus and the snake that we saw and this sort of card, it's less about trying to beat the person or, at their own game. It's more about kind of like charming them into seeing it from a different sort of view. So rather than this, trying a different approach at communication, trying a different person, or trying a different path altogether, it feels like there may be more energy necessary to do something than you need to do. If you're prioritizing personal health, or if you have a question about health, the Strength card is pretty good. It does say that that should be your main focus, but the fact that it's upright bodes well. Overall, it tells me you can do anything you put your mind to. It's just a question of, does this feel right for me? Is this worth it? Do I want this? How much energy is this taking? And again, we're talking about all of this because earlier we had the Six of Pentacles here, and the Six of Pentacles is really about making sure that you're not overdoing it. There's always going to be someone knocking at the door wanting a little bit more, and you have to decide, does this work for me? I hope so. All right, so that, my friends, is everything in a nutshell. Again, one last time, if you could show some love and support, I'd appreciate it. Feel free to give me a follow and a like if you'd like to. You have one more chance here to give back to the channel if you'd like to as well, because at this point, I'm going to share some gratitude and say thanks to everybody. I always like to start with the brand new folks, so if you're brand new to the room, thank you for finding me today. Make sure that you check back. I do a lot of different readings each month. I do Sunday collectives. I'll be back this weekend on Sunday to do that. I'm planning on doing an impromptu, hopefully on Saturday. The impromptus aren't necessarily scheduled. They just happen. They usually happen in the evening. So click that bell icon so you don't miss out on those. And to all of my longtime subscribers here, thank you for following me for up to 7 years, some of you. I appreciate that. To all the members that have been helping me out over the past couple of years, thank you. You're the reason that it looks as good as it does right now, so thank you for that. Same thing to the Patreon supporters. Now, for those of you that happen to give a little bit of love today, I'm going to take a moment to just say thank you. So I'm going to welcome new members in first, and then I'll say thanks to anybody that gave a super sticker or super chat. So let's begin with the memberships, and then we'll move on to the next thing. So let's see. We have Destiny Fontaine. Thank you so much for rejoining after 3 months. Good to have you back. Someone else whose channel is no longer there, but thanks anyway for rejoining. Let's see. We have Krista Christina. Thank you very much. Brand new member. Monica Mora, rejoining after 8 months. Venetia Tyson, rejoining after 9 months. Let's see. Chasing the Sun Art, rejoining after 3 months. Sean Walton, brand new. Good to have you here. Demi rejoining after 6 months. And I think that's everyone from the last 24 hours. So welcome to all of those folks. Good to have a lot of folks coming back. And now for anybody that gave back today with a super sticker or super chat, I'd like to just take a moment of gratitude. So beginning with the person that kicked it off today, Allison Brooks, thank you for your initial contribution there. Powler17, Michelle DePoy, Sandra, Sarah Georgelin, I think, yes. Regina Altwater, or Altweger, I'm sorry. Fab OG42, and Jalissa? Yeah, I think it is Jalissa. Thank you so much. And thanks, Fab, for the 22. I appreciate that. All right, so I believe I said hello to everybody. I hope I did. Let me see if I missed anyone here. I don't think so. So, Elaine Walsh, thank you for that. And that was everybody today. So that is today's reading. Like I said, join me for something special on the weekend. Again, TBD, but I might be looking at relationships, partly because I never do, and why not? So we'll take a look at it, but I might be persuaded otherwise, and with an impromptu, I can also change it when we go live. So that's kind of fun thing with the impromptu. Try to keep it shorter, as I've been trying to do even with today's. I'm trying to keep them in a decent sort of time span. So thank you, everybody. Thanks to Maria for your help with moderation and for telling me that you couldn't hear me earlier. That was very helpful. Winnie, I appreciate you also coming in at the very last minute there. All right, everyone, have a great weekend. Remember to join me on Saturday and also on Sunday. More information to be coming on my channel soon. Take care of yourselves, and much love and light. Let's see if Apollo, he's in the other room. So we're going to let him go today, but I'll make sure that he's a part of the weekend. Let me see if I can get him in here. Apollo. Let's see if he comes in. I'll let him say goodbye. Hey, buddy, come here. Want to say goodbye? Come on, buddy. Let's go. He's like, no, I'm going to nap. No, for today, I always honor Apollo's wishes, so you're going to have to tune in. There he is. Come on, buddy. Yeah, everyone wants to say goodbye to you. He was in his nap time, so there we go. Goodbye from both Apollo and I. We hope you have a good one, okay? Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.